top right-hand corner of the map, the legend himself from Team SCV Life. It is the red Zerg player, HyuN. HyuN is currently leading in this series 2-1 versus his opponent in this best of 9. In the bottom left-hand corner from Team Startail, ladies and gentlemen, it is PartinG.
That's right, and this has been a pretty close set so far. I mean, there was a really good hold from PartinG in game number 2, holding a 10 pool after a Nexus first.
Yeah.
Really, actually, if you guys are curious about how to defend against things like that's kind of unfair to say though, because I mean, and I'm not trying to put down people who are newer to the game or anything like that, but PartinG showed why he's a pro player in that game, because that's something that you can't do unless you just have incredible presence of mind, a ridiculous amount of experience, and impeccable control, because he split 3 separate groups of pros out to actually surround multiple Zerglings, and that is ridiculous.
I mean, you heard my reaction. I was like, yeah, PartinG's kind of dead, and he did go on to lose that game. Or no, he actually went on to win that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
3-base Colossus follow-up to it.
Yeah, that was absolutely phenomenal. So, in fact, guys, I mean, PartinG, he's just so impressive, and we're going to see. This is in Tomb Valley, of course, a map which Protosses tend to like. PartinG recently manhandled Losira on this map with an Immortal Sentry all in, so we'll have to see it, man. We'll have to wait and see. HyuN getting started things off here with a pretty standardly timed pool.
Yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary. And HyuN has not really had to change necessarily what he does all that much. I mean, he's decided to go pool first. Yes, in game number 2, he went for the 10 pool, but afterwards, it was all very normal play so far. So, all right, so let's go ahead and take a look now at what PartinG's going to do here. He decides to go for a Nexus after Forge this time, switching things up. It is going to give him the flexibility to pylon block, but it doesn't look like he's going to take it.
5 hit points left. It was almost so tempting to go and just poke that probe. Just poke that probe, Kevin.
Yeah.
Sorry, I like the alliteration behind that.
I guess so. I hate alliteration. I hate literary devices.
The other day, you rattled off a sentence that had like 5. Yeah, exactly. We won't even get into it because
positively preposterous.
Oh, that might have. I think there was even another word, but preposterous. No, that's just because preposterous has a P halfway through it as well. PartinG, guys. Nexus into Forge into Gateway. There it is. Oh, he did
Forge Nexus Gateway
first, actually.
Yeah, he did go Forge before Nexus. Yeah.
All right, so mixing it up, good, because HyuN doesn't mind 10 pulling you, as evidenced by Ohana, which is really cool. Of course, we are in a best of 9, so PartinG needs to cater to what HyuN's throwing at him. I mean, it's important, Your opponent 10 pulls you. Next game, he could do it all over again.
Now let's see what HyuN gets a read on. Now, of course, he knows that the cannon's up a little bit earlier. He knows that PartinG's going after the destructible rocks. And so he's actually got a really good read now, because he knows that this was a Forge before Nexus, and we'll see how he decides to react appropriately. Nothing's really changed on his front. Once again, he's got his third hatch coming down to the second, the same that it has been pretty much every game with the exception of that 10 pool game.
All right, so Cybercore is down a little bit later than we typically anticipate, but either way. Also making a Zealot is PartinG. He's working on his probes, and no 3rd or 4th gas quite yet. We would expect to see that in about 20 or 30 seconds here.
Right.
HyuN has no gases quite yet. Just hitting up his Larva injects, going to continue droning, and in fact, a pretty quick +1 here out of PartinG.
Yeah, as that's hitting well before his Warp Gate. No, this was actually what he's done in the past, and then decided to go for Stargate after that. Looks like HyuN is going to get 2 Overlords in position, so he can't sacrifice those as he goes along. Warp Gate's on the way. He saw how early this Forge came up, and now he's getting a better read on the gases. And,
well, it is a Stalker follow-up to the Zealot here. Now, there's no 3rd gas, so it doesn't look like it's going to be, any sort of Immortal Sentry play, but looks like the rocks are going to go down, and, I mean, he's got no minerals at this point, so doesn't look too much like he's, yeah, see, there comes the probe, because we really do expect an expansion here, but I'm like, you have a lot of gas.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he does this now, HyuN is certainly going to have a little bit of an opportunity to either tech free or decide to take the map. We've seen HyuN kind of have 2 responses to this. We have seen him go for quick kills. In this scenario, he'll do some sort of a big 3-base all-in. More often than not, though, he tends to take this 4th very quickly after seeing that 3rd and running out afterwards.
I want to point out, I love that HyuN moves his Overlord away as he's getting ready for his opponent to take their 3rd. He's like, look, I'm going to make it that if you don't take a 3rd, you might think I've fallen for it. You might be like, hey, look, he doesn't have an Overlord here. He doesn't know I don't have a third. I can all in him. It's going to be awesome. But in fact, HyuN would know. So small attention to detail there. Really, really like stuff like that.
And we've seen that strategy, that fake that you were talking about in the past, where players will knock down these rocks, put up a couple more gateways, and then put up like 6 more gateways back at home, and then just move out with a huge 8-gate push.
Which is actually entirely possible. I mean, with those gateways in position here, remember, he also got +1, and he's got 4 gateways on the way right now, not 2. Can we actually go look at those? Because he's still sitting on 2 gas. He hasn't dropped a Nexus yet. Yeah, so this is just a 7-gate.
That's what This is literally what we were just talking about.
But the Overlord, the Overlord goes down, in fact. Beautiful out of PartinG taking that out.
That's right. So now HyuN, he has no idea that this is coming. He doesn't know of the subsequent follow-ups here. But at least to his credit, he's making a big follow-up here. He's not going up to that 3rd base. Or that 4th base, and now he is. So 2 more hatcheries are coming down. It's going to temporarily stifle his ability to get any units out on the map.
Well, you know, he doesn't know if there's a 3rd, but we don't see him droning. We see him actually making lings and roaches right now. He's taking he's kind of taking the middle road. He's taking the 4th in case PartinG has expanded. But something feels a little fishy. PartinG put a lot of effort into killing that Overlord. He put a Stalker in the main and a Stalker on the right, put a lot of effort. So right now, HyuN is feeling a little bit different. Now he actually sees his units moving out, and he realizes, I got to make a lot of units, and I got to make them now.
Okay, well, he's making another 12 lings in addition to the 20 he has on the map. Still going to be very tough here. Now, the problem was he hadn't started working at the destructible rocks at all so far, so that could actually hamper his movement a little bit, depending on the position that PartinG can get in afterwards. 2 pylons coming down to the front. Nice shot for the Zerglings to get in and actually connect with the sentries, but there's nothing enough there to follow it up. So even though he took down a little bit of energy, PartinG's still looking pretty good with the amount of forces he has left.
Now, there were, PartinG took gases behind this, so he's going to be able to make a lot of sentries to continue this pressure. But remember, this is just a 7-gate. There's no immortals with this army. Roaches are going to be incredibly powerful because of the lack of bonus armor damage that's really going to exist here. It's just in the Stalkers, and that's pretty minor compared to an immortal. So HyuN's definitely got a huge chance of holding this off. He just needs to keep pumping units. And you know what? With the completion of this 4th,
I all of a sudden don't like PartinG's position because he made a 7-gate, he made a ton of units, he didn't do any damage whatsoever, he didn't even pressure. Yes, he forced units out of HyuN, but as we noted before, HyuN had decided to take a little bit more macro approach, go for that 4th base a little bit quicker. He's even got his infestation pit. He's got 4 gas coming up at the same time, and PartinG can't match his opponent now on tech or economy, which means he has to do it on army, but that army advantage is going to whittle away, and because he's already pulled back, he has no ability to pressure, and he's going to lose the only advantage he has in this game.
You could have just stopped the sentence there.
Yeah.
No, what we need to see from PartinG is actually just standard play. What we need to see from HyuN is a drastic mistake. I mean, HyuN, he can't lose if he doesn't make any mistakes from this point. He's miles ahead of his opponent right now. A beautiful response there to sensing PartinG's all-in play. And, I mean, it's a 7-gate, guys. You can't transition out of a 7-gate effectively at all.
No, I mean, we're talking about a robotics facility that came down at the 10.5-minute mark.
Yeah.
That's about 45 seconds after a 3 immortal all-in would already have been executed.
And killed, or, yeah, exactly. So, and he was at 95 supply when he went home. I mean, PartinG, what's the economy right now? 72 to 58. That doesn't even begin to illustrate the deficit that PartinG's currently at.
This does, though. The gas income is about half that for PartinG. So we talked about he needs to be able to tech at this point. He needs to be able to dump into upgrades. He needs to be able to dump into advanced structures. But the problem is he just doesn't have the ability to do that. And what did we mention before? His only advantage that he was carrying was an army advantage. But his units are starting to get less and less cost effective. As we see these immortals that are getting put out on the map with full upgrades, with pneumatized carapace even, HyuN can just dump his resources into whatever he wants, and he's starting to win back that army advantage. Yes, his army supply is much larger than his opponent. Yes, these are pretty weak units, but the ones that are coming out for HyuN right now are miles better than PartinG.
I'm questioning PartinG's decision on using the 7-gate on this map, especially after he was just 10-pulled the game before. You know, if you're going to go for this build, it's really actually a fantastic idea to have your forge in your main, because your opponent's seeing that you're getting +1 and that you're making units, and yet it looks like you're going to expand. Things just look a little fishy. Why are you rushing +1 when you're going to expand? I mean, yeah, you can go for the quick Twilight Council and be working on the +2 upgrades, but it definitely lended towards the suspicion of HyuN. Who, I mean, now is just in a glorious position here. Because I really would have liked to see the forge in the main, but
because if you're going to expand, yes, you can still put up that +1, but it comes after Warp Gate. It's just a little bit delayed as you have other uses for your gas, you have other uses for your resources, for your time, for your attention. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to show you the vision of HyuN right now. Except for his opponent's base, he has every corner of the map actually taken right now. HyuN, without a single major engagement in this game, is just playing flawlessly.
That couldn't be more true. Pylon that tried to be built on the low ground does not succeed in that endeavor, and HyuN is maxed out, folks. 3,000 minerals, 1,200 gas. Kevin, is there any way HyuN can lose from here?
Yeah, we mentioned critical mistake. If he would suicide a bunch of units into a few Colossi, yes, and doesn't replace it and gets caught in the trap that he sometimes get caught in, which is the trading units too cost inefficiently time after time after time after time. Because we mentioned that HyuN has a tendency, as his only kind of big problem, that he's like, okay, I'm really confident, I'm really far ahead, my job right now is to contain my opponent. That's all great. But when you do that, and then you add in, I'm going to trade units cost efficiently 4 times in a row, it can get you in trouble.
We can actually look at Ohana. I mean, he was so ahead in that, threw away just so much, threw away his entire army, and PartinG didn't miss a beat. Immediately pushed out across the map, countered and won. So, I mean, HyuN here, it's going to be a little bit, I don't want to see him, throw away 60 supply worth of army,
Sure.
Throw 10 here, make a couple Broodlords, throw 10 again, make a couple Broodlords, slowly make that transition, because this, yeah, they're in cross positions, but this still isn't one of the largest maps, and we can see that PartinG, he's not cooped up in his base. He's kind of already, a third of the way across the map, so if he murders HyuN's army, he's going to be right on top of him really quick.
All right, it looks like the Roaches do pick up on these Zealots making their way out, and that's pretty nice for HyuN at the moment. He's at 211 supply.
Yeah.
He made a ton of Spore Crawlers there just to be able to clear up supply and overmake this army. As when this Greater Spire finishes, after he does this engagement, he'll certainly want to reproduce on a bunch of Broodlords. Really nice force field so far from PartinG, but the Infestors are all getting underneath, and the Corruptors are actually surviving long enough to pick off a couple of Colossi. They're not going to be able to get the Warp Prism. They're not going to be able to get this Colossus off to the right, but look at the infested Terrans that were just dropped down for HyuN. It murders everything up at the front. We do have a mothership on the way. HyuN has not decided what he wants to spend his money on. There we go, 82 links coming out at the same time.
Well, the infested Terrans practically just killed everything. Yeah, the Stalkers, about 2/3 of them maybe blinked up onto the high ground. A lot were caught on the bottom. We're seeing the last vestiges of them being cleaned up right now, but there's no counter here. There's no PartinG moving out across the map right now and destroying HyuN. HyuN just got 80 lings on the field just to make sure that that didn't happen, in fact. I mean, he's not looking to go kill with 80 lings. It's a couple of force fields, prevent everything from happening. He just wanted to make sure PartinG didn't get the counter and get himself to victory. Now HyuN has pretty much got this game in the bag.
Okay, well, HyuN, the one out, though, for PartinG, of course, is that he was allowed to get a 4th base up. He was allowed to reestablish his economy, and his tech is now on par with his opponent. And so he's matched the tech advantage, he's not matched the economic advantage, and he certainly hasn't matched the army advantage, but he is equalized in one of those 3 categories. If he can delay, win another cost-effective engagement, and start press another one of those advantages, then maybe PartinG is back in this game. But for now, I don't know how he's going to stop this force.
You said the right thing. He needs to delay, but HyuN's not letting that happen. He's immediately moving in with these links. Fungal Growth's going down on these Stalkers so they can't blink away. We're seeing so many units from PartinG fall right now. Yeah, the mothership's on the field, but it's too little, too late. This is such an important base for PartinG, and it looks like it's going to go down, Kev. At the same time, Broodling's killing off everything. GG, going to go down for PartinG.
All right, HyuN's up 3-1, guys. That is pretty remarkable. HyuN's doing really, really well. That game was just kind of textbook, like real-time strategy. I felt like I was like narrating, like, this is what you do. These are the advantages you have in real-time strategy games. But that's what happened. HyuN just played really well.
Yeah, a lot of times you see, actually, let's look at the third. You see the Nexus go down before the gateways. Like, they drop the Nexus, and it's like, quickly drop the gateways, make sure you don't get in. But it was like, gateways started, they're halfway done, the Overlord's now flying away, and then he comes back in, and then the Stalkers are trying to kill the Overlord. He pokes in, doesn't see the third yet, and he's like, you're so all-inning me right now, but I'll drop a hatchery just in case.
We haven't seen that Immortal Sentry all-in build, though, yet.
We haven't.
No, we've not seen that really the entire set. I actually have a theory about this.
Okay. I'm actually curious to hear it because I've been crafting, brainstorming too.
Now, over the weekend, we saw some pretty ridiculous technology that was pioneered at the Lone Star Clash. Eye tracking technology could revolutionize the way that esports is broadcast. We here at the IPL, we've also come up with a technological advancement that we believe is going to revolutionize esports. I developed it myself. It's the Kevinaki Solmometer. And if we could go ahead and take a look at that here, I'd appreciate that. And there it is. As you can see, the last game we've scientifically proven that PartinG Soul was at about 5%. And as we know here, experts at the IPL, you need at least 60 to 70% Soul in order to initiate that Century Immortal All-In and really carry the advantage that you're looking for.
So things are a little bit cold.
Yeah.
In the Soul department.
Yes.
Because it's the thermometer.
That's right. The Soulmometer is a little bit too low, so a little bit more Soul from PartinG, and maybe we'll get one of those Century Immortal All-Ins. I don't know, guys. You can't argue with science, though, and those are the facts.
Yeah,
so.
HyuN's got him frozen in his tracks right now.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to run to a commercial break. While you're away, don't forget, we have a sweet giveaway on IGN.com/IPL giveaways. If you guys head over there, you can try and win one of 5 IPL prize packages. Each of those prize packages has 2 VIP tickets valued at $300 a piece to IPL 5. That's absolutely right. And 2 swag bags complete with T-shirts and shot glasses and everything you could ever want.
IPL gear is so good looking, black and red.
Yeah. It's a classy color combination. Rakdos for my Magic the Gathering friends out there.
Yes.
But yes, so head over to IGN.com/IPL giveaways to enter to win one of those 5 packages. We're going to run to a commercial break, and when we get back, it's time for game number 5.